Alright, so we have Swampert. If you didn't see my video for Ultra League, I recommend you take a look because these videos are kind of similar. It's just where you're dealing with just legendaries versus non-legendaries. They're pretty much the same, but I would take a look at the different. But this one's going to be a lot shorter because it's going to be much easier for me to analyze Swampert, Shadow Swampert for Premier Cup because you don't have to deal with legendaries. Pretty much what Swampert does is it's amazing. It's only weak to grass. Maxes at a very high level. Hydro Cannon and Mudshot are extremely powerful and has high DPS. That's why it's so strong. You also resist electric, fire, poison, ground, rock. Poison, rock, and steel. Which means all those smackdown. Weirdly, those smackdown. What is it? Crustals don't work a lot. And anything that tries to rock slide you, like if you accidentally get rock slided by a Tangrowth, it's not going to work. And also all those steel typing. So bullet punches, you do resist those as well. Those Charizards don't do much damage, and wild charge users cry. That's basically what it is. And also you kind of you pretty much wall Magnezone with a Swampert, which is pretty nuts because electric and steel. So like I said, very powerful. You need Hydro Cannon to make Shadow Swampert effective. You need Hydro Cannon. The only way you're gonna get that is if you evolve a Marshtomp during a community day when they release Hydro Cannon or Hydro Cannon's available, or if you lead TM. So if you want it in Season 4, you have to lead TM, but it's worth it. If you like playing Swampert and you have one that you can use, if you have a high rank one that you can use for long term, I could say long term, Shadow Swampert with Ultra League is going to be relevant for a very long time. Because there's only one weakness, one huge weakness, such as grass, there's not a lot of grass types that are super relevant besides Venusaur. So the only thing you really have to watch out for is Venusaur, and even then, Venusaur doesn't completely resist Marshtomp because you have Sludge Wave and Earthquake as secondary moves, so you can run through. Kinda cheap for the second move, but a little expensive on the perfect IV side. It maxes out around level 29 or 30, so you're going to spend quite a bit of dust if you want to power one up, especially the Shadow version. But it's pretty sweet. Also has a sweet shiny. Regular version works too, but I'm going to look at the Shadow version because the Shadow version is what really, if you look at the rankings, it really stands out, and you'll see why. Alright, so here's Shadow Swampert. I also put regular Swampert in here with Hydro Cannon and Hydro Cannon, and I even put Earthquake and Sludge Wave. So you could take a look at both versions and see what they flip. So Swampert's really strong against Ampharos, Charizard, of course. You're also strong at you wall Electivire, and even where's Magnezone? There's Magnezone. You're really strong against the Wild Charge users. You beat Excavalier, Galade, Shadow Swamp, Magnezone. Shadow Machamp, Magnezone, Alolan Muck, Poliwrath, Scizor. So all the steel types you're really strong against. You're even strong against Snorlax. So keep that in mind. You also beat regular Swampert in the lead in the 2s. I believe you just go straight Hydro Cannon. Well, with the Earthquake version. Straight Hydro Cannon, Earthquake down, and that's GG's. Actually, you can probably just straight Hydro Cannon do, to be honest with you. Or you actually get a simultaneous knockout. So Earthquake does have play. Earthquake does have play versus Sludge Wave. Now, Sludge Wave is usually the answer because of things like Charizard, and also because you have Abomasnow. But even then, like, to take out grass types is why you want Sludge Wave. But Earthquake does heavy damage too. With Earthquake, you can actually flip a ton of matchups that you normally wouldn't beat. So keep that in mind. And also with Earthquake, you get stabbed. With Sludge Wave, you don't. That's why you see a lot of losing matchups here with Shadow Swampert with Sludge Wave. Even with regular Swampert. So there's a lot of... regular Swampert flips some matchups, but like the Obstagoon matchup, that's one that's notable, and Gengar. But this is the 2 shield. So this is if you use it in the 2s. So in the 2 shield, Shadow Swampert's really strong. It just really depends. If you get one that you're weak against, for example, if you do get like a Abomasnow, switch immediately. Now the 1 shield, Shadow Swampert and Premier Ultra, is actually really interesting. You beat Bomba in the 1s because Sludge Wave actually takes it out. Other than that, you don't win it with Earthquake. You don't win. So just keep that in mind. You also any notable matchups. You beat Lapras Machamp. You beat both versions of Machamp. You lose against Poliwrath in the one, so just keep that in mind, even with Sludge Wave. But in the one shield, if you see how many matchups, this is where Shadow Swampert shines. It beats a lot of the meta in the one shield. And some of them you literally just go straight Hydro Cannon. So for example, if you see Charizard, just straight Hydro Cannon to death, and one Hydro Cannon will yeet the Charizard. As you see, unless it has 2 shields, Charizard just gets absolutely destroyed by Shadow Swampert. And that's just because the shadow damage really does make a difference in the 1 shield scenario. That's why it's number 3. In the zeros, Shadow Swampert actually takes the cake as well, because if you look at the 0 shield, look. In the 0 shield, you actually beat a lot of things. Ampharos, Charizard, of course. You beat Clefable. You beat Gengar, Machamp. You beat both versions of Machamp, Magnezone, Obstagoon, and the list goes on. Now, for some odd reason, you do lose against Slowbro just because Slowbro does resist your shots and confusion hurts a lot. But just keep in mind that you do beat a majority of the meta. And if you see grass, please leave. No, if you see grass, leave. However, if you do have shields, you might be able to go around it. As you see here, if you have shields, you actually beat Shadow Swampert, Shadow Abomasnow with up a shield. So the 1 to 0s you'll beat with Shadow Swampert, especially with Sludge Wave. Abomasnow goes down with both versions if you have Sludge Wave. So Shadow Swampert beats Abomasnow up a shield. You also beat a majority, with the exception of Dragonite. You don't beat Dragonite, and you don't beat Venusaur. But you beat Tangrowth in the 1. So Sludge Wave actually KOs Tangrowth, as you see here. So Sludge Wave, if you Sludge Wave, you actually will KO up a shield. Sludge Wave actually takes out 152, which is a lot. You almost take out you can one-shot an entire Tangrowth up a shield. So as you see in the 1 shield, extremely powerful. If you leave Swampert with a shield, it can run through a lot of the meta. That's why it's number 3. Now, if it's up 2 shields, now imagine that doesn't even consider if you're up energy. Now, if you have 2 shields, you actually beat the entire meta with Shadow Swampert with Hydro Cannon Sludge Wave. The entire meta will lose, including Venusaur. So you can take on Food Frenzy plants, and then you can Hydro Cannon / Sludge Wave for victory. So up shields and up energy, Shadow Swampert is a monster. Most of everything, it beats everything, including its weaknesses in the 2 shield scenario. This is not even considering if it might have energy lead. In the 2 to 1s, it goes to a little bit of a different story. In the 2 to 1s, you do lose against a few things, but other than that, you're okay. For example, Swampert with Abomasnow. In the 2 to 1s, not super strong, so just be mindful. So it's not super dominant. You could still lose with energy lead, so just keep that in mind. But in the 2 to 1 shield, as you see, in the 2 to 1 shield scenario, you actually beat a lot of the meta. You lose against Venusaur in the 2 to 1 scenario, but you still beat Tangrowth with up a shield. So as long as you have shield advantage, you can beat a lot of Swampert's weaknesses. Or Shadow Swampert's weaknesses. Alright, so in summary, Shadow Swampert's really good for Ultra Premium. Remember, you need an Elite TM to use it, so Shadow Swampert might not be your cup of tea. It's expensive. You're going to spend a lot of bread / Stardust on Swampert, so just keep that in mind, especially for Shadow. Now, for the quick in and out, like I said, best used in the lead or closer. If you lose the lead, you need to switch. What I'm doing right now... Oh, whoops, I didn't actually. Hold on, give me 1 second. That's not right. Hold on, give me 1 second. Alright. So, Premier Cup, Ultra, Champion, etc. And then we battle. We get a Machamp lead. So now... This is where, Swampert is so powerful that it can take a lot of the meta. You lose CMP against Machamp, so that's okay. We're gonna Hydro Cannon. We're just gonna straight Hydro Cannon because Cross Chop is so oppressive. But okay, we managed to not get the counter through perfect. But that's the thing about Shadow Swampert. Shadow Swampert, if you do lose the lead, you need to switch immediately. Other than that, Shadow Swampert can help you take shields and set up your back row. Just because oh, we got a counter through. Oh, that's not good. That means the next one's gonna. You don't want Shadow Champ or Champ with a counter through, because Shadow Champ Machamp will win CMP. So because it got that, we might get outpaced to the Cross Chop, which is okay. At that point, I should just let Shadow Swampert go. Hopefully we do get to the Hydro Cannon, and we do. Now, the thing is, Hydro Cannon doesn't actually kill here. So what happens is we're just basically gonna let Swampert go. So as you see here, they get switched. That's perfectly fine though. This kind of sets up our Amok to it sets up our back row to sweep. Now that's what Shadow Swampert does. As you see, Shadow Swampert is really powerful. It took both shields. Unfortunately, they managed to get a bunch of counters in, but that's okay. And now we get to send in our Alolan Muck. We walled his Venusaur, so it's kind of strange that okay, this is why it's sent in because of the Togekiss. But as you see, in the lead, Swampert is very, very powerful. It took both shields, and it set up our back row for the W. Now we could pretty much, if we wanted to, we could just pretty much farm down here. Well, actually, I don't know if you could. Can you farm down entire Togekiss? Yes, you can. And then we just Sludge Wave for the victory. We're gonna Sludge Wave this Venusaur. Now Venusaur has to throw its energy, and that's GG's. So as you see, 2 poison types in the back to cover Swampert's weaknesses, which is grass. Actually works really well. Actually, that's why I formulated this team. Venusaur and Alolan Muck, actually, the only weakness you have to watch out for is grass. If you have 2 things that check grass, this is a pretty, like, rock, paper, like, not really rock, paper, scissors, but this is a pretty, like, cookie cutter team. Cover the back with, basically, cover Swampert's weaknesses with double counters to its biggest weakness, which is grass. But as you see, as long as you have, like, Swampert in the lead is just, like, really powerful. Really strong. Really took on Machamp took on Machamp like a champion, and it popped both shields and set us up to sweep in the back. This is one way to use Swampert. The second one is to use Swampert in the back as a closer. So for the lead, I will use. I'm gonna use Shadow Dragonite. I've loved Shadow Dragonite. So Shadow Dragonite, which is my usual lead, and instead of my close, we're just going to use Shadow Swampert instead of my Electivire. So we're going to use Shadow Swampert and Venusaur, just to show you what happens like when you can use. Now, you kind of need a viable switch, so instead of using Venusaur, I'll use Buffaloant. Well, not Buffaloant here, I'll use Alolan Muck. We can use Venusaur, but the thing is, we want that coverage against grass typings, which Dragonite and Muck do. But this is basically just showing you the closer with the closer. So this is Ferrothorn. The good thing is you actually beat Ferrothorn in the 2 shield. But I'm glad we switched out just because we want to draw out the Charizard, which is great. Well, not really draw out the Charizard, but this works in this scenario. Now what we could do here is we grab a shield with our Shadow Dragonite, and I actually just switch into Shadow Swampert, and Shadow Swampert's just going to go to town. No, seriously, Shadow Swampert. So, Shadow Swampert can live 2 Dragon Claws, and it can even live an entire Blast Burn. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna double up on Hydro Cannons, and then we're gonna fire because we have 2 shields. So our opponent's gonna probably try to just double Dragon Claw because Blast Burn is resisted, and you waste a lot of energy. But as you see here, just see how we get so much energy charging these Hydro Cannons. Now we have that Ferrothorn, so we're probably gonna get farmed down. That's okay. Swampert did its job. As you see here, if you get... This will actually KO. So regular Swampert doesn't actually KO at this range, but Shadow does. That's a huge difference, as you saw for Charizard. If you watch the Ultra video, Ultra Premiere, pretty much same thing. Find the Charizard. Kill Charizard. We get farmed out by Ferrothorn. That's okay. Because we have 2 shields with our Dragonite now, and we have Amok still. So there's basically like no way we lose this. No, seriously, there's like pretty much no way we lose this. I'm not going to shield this. We have 2 shields, so I can expect my opponent to either try to Rock Slide or Cross Chop to bait shields, and they do try to bait our shields, so that's perfectly fine. I'm going to go up to the I'm going to go up a little more, and then we'll fire the Dragon Claw. This should kill, and we should have some energy left over, but we have 2 shields with our Ferrothorn in the back. As long as I keep 2 shields for the Ferrothorn in the back, we pretty much win. Because this Ferrothorn has to use energy here. So it has to either Thunder us or it Vine Whips, but all we pretty much do is just double Dark Pulse and we win. As you see, we do find a Power Whip. That actually doesn't KO, which is nuts. We're going to keep I'm going to try to get to a Hurricane. We don't get there, that's fine. Could use a shield. We could shield here. We could shield, force the Ferrothorn to have 0 energy. Can we get to a Hurricane? I don't believe we can. We could try. Okay, no, you do get to a Hurricane. That's nuts. Okay. And GG's. As you see here, we actually got to a Hurricane versus a Ferrothorn. That's pretty nuts. But as you see here, Shadow Swampert actually was able to take If you get something like a Charizard, or if you get like a Wild Charge user and you throw Swampert into him, it's a bad day. So especially against Shadow Swampert because it has a lot of KO potential with Hydro Cannon. And that's the video. As you see for Ultra Premier, Shadow Swampert is really powerful. You need to use an Elite TM. So just keep that in mind. In the long term, it's really useful. So if you want to use it, I promise you won't be disappointed. However, it does take some skill and it's not easy to use Shadow Swampert. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you on my next video.